Welcome to Kev's Travel Stories. Each week I'll be bringing you a story from the weird and wonderful world of travel, a world that can change the way you see life and love and even the way we find meaning. Places that are iconic and sometimes surprising and even terrifying. So sit back and enjoy while we go on a magical mystery tour together. Welcome to Kevin's Travel Stories. In this episode, as we continue our exploration of Rome and the Vatican, I'm going to tell you where to go and what to eat and which restaurants you can trust. Now, I have the best guide in the world. Her name is Eileen Dunne Crescenzi. She is the partner of Stefano, and they have established in Dublin a great chain of Italian restaurants, the busiest and the most chic restaurants, Dunne Crescenzi. And if you're visiting Dublin, make sure to pop in. The flagship restaurant is on Frederick Street. It's very near the city centre, Dawson Street and Grafton Street. And there, if you're lucky, because it's very busy, and you're going to have politicians, you're going to have professors, you're going to have the great and the good, and a lot of people who visit Dublin, make sure to pass by and sample some true Italian cuisine, because Eileen and Stefano have spent so much of their lives in Italy, and they've brought back the wonder which is Italian food. And from part of the year, they both live in Rome, so who better to get the advice on where, as you visit this fantastic city and you go around from the Forum to St. Peter's and everywhere in between, you have to eat. And I'm going to take you away from the tourist traps, and myself and Eileen are going to take you by the hand and show you where to go and what to eat. Because sadly, Rome, like many of the other great cities, is full of tourist traps. And you can tell them the things to look out for are those awful pictures of the food. Don't go into that restaurant. A man trying to drag you in off the street. Don't go into that restaurant. Tables that have the white crisscrossed tablecloths. Don't go into that one. And food that is covered in red sauce. Don't go to that restaurant either. No, we're going to give you an insight into real Roman food and really great local restaurants which won't cost you the earth and will give you an authentic taste. So come on, let's go. Grab my hand. Let's go. Okay, so as Eileen explained to me, Rome is the fountainhead of great Italian dishes. Forgive my pronunciation, sometimes I mangle words, but we're talking about dishes like carbonara. These are the dishes that from Rome and the surrounding Lazio area that are spread worldwide. They're sort of based on things like cured pork or pancetta, and they come from this great Roman Empire, the food that has at one time drove the biggest empire the world had ever seen. The other big thing to know about Roman food is there's a Roman Jewish tradition, particularly surrounding the artichoke or the carciofo. You have the carciofo alla Giudia, which is artichoke deep fried and crispy. Yum, yum, yum. You also have the carciofo alla Romana, which is braised, slow cooked artichoke, stewed in water for 20 minutes. These are usually served as starters, and they are fantastic. Now, another thing to know about traditional Roman food is it's based around the offal. This is the bits, the unspeakable bits of the animal. Because the great cuts were served to the posh, the cardinals and the rich businessmen and women. And the peasants and the workers, they had to subsist on the offal. So you're going to have traditional dishes now in modern Rome that still nod ahead and honour this offal tradition. And where we're going to go to Testaccio area and the Trastevere area, two areas where the really great restaurants are, divided by the River Tiber. And this is where you're going to find some of the best restaurants. And this is the area that the Prime Minister Meloni said this is filled with people who are radically chic. Now, she wasn't being kind there, she was being condescending. But this is where the people who really love their food go. So come with me and let's go and have a look and see what some of these dishes are. So the things that you can look for are things like carpatella, which is an Easter dish. It's usually made with the offal of lamb, liver, the spleen, the intestines. They're slow cooked with lots of garlic. Another dish that you will see, which is the oxtail, particularly this Coda, alla Romana, which is cooked with celery. And then you'll also have tripe or trippa alla Romana. So again, nothing goes to waste. All of these succulent bits of the food which the rich and famous would turn their noses at, and now are the staple of the really cutting-edge, traditional food from these sort of restaurants that we're going to suggest. So these are the dishes to look out for. The other thing about Romans is that they love their fried food, or soupli. You'll get things like cooked rice in tomato sauce with mozzarella balls covered in breadcrumbs and deep fried. Yum, yum, yum. Baccalà, which is deep fried cod. You can have these either on their own or in chickpea stews. And then, of course, you have the zucchini, the courgette flowers. One of these, the Fiore di Zucchini fritta, which is flowers filled with anchovies and deep fried. Now, can you imagine that? That would be absolutely gorgeous. And I can remember tasting that. And the way that the courgette and the anchovies mix as you bite into them, warm and hot. Oh, my goodness me. What should you drink? Well, Eileen always recommends the local wines. Frascati used to be the wine that was the most common, but now there's a lot of local producers, she advises me. You can get the Fermentino white grape, which produces some really great wines. And of course, these complement these rustic local dishes. Also a Montepulciano di Abruzzo. So where are you going to go? Well, we know where we shan't go. We don't go to those touristic restaurants with the photos, the guy grabbing you, and the dishes covered in red sauce. No, we're going to go to a very select group that you're going to find in the Testaccio area. You can look them up online. The first one is the Piatto Romano, and this specializes in offal dishes. And it's very simple dining. They're very popular. You're going to pay about €16 for a pasta dish, but you are going to be surrounded by locals, and you really will have to book because these restaurants are very, very popular, but you're going to get the real deal. Another restaurant she recommends is the Osteria degli Amici. And here you will have Roman pasta dishes across the board, very well cooked, great attention to detail. You're only paying around €16 a glass, and then a glass of wine is about half that priced. One of Eileen's favourites is Dalu. I'm going to put little details, just the names of these and some of the dishes in the description below this, so you can look it up and go online and book. It's independently owned and run by a woman, a bit like Eileen herself, with her husband, runs these incredible restaurants in Dublin. It's slightly more elegant dining, but you're going to get very good traditional dishes. And then you're going to get the crudo, the raw fish, the oysters. And again, this is slightly more expensive, 16 to 20. And if you have a fish dish, you will be going up in price, but you're going to absolutely get the very, very best. So really, Eileen's advice is stick with these restaurants, stick with these traditional dishes, and you cannot go wrong. Of course, if you are looking for something while you're on the go walking around, she recommends the pizza slices. Now, there's a difference between the Roman pizza and the Napoli or Naples pizza. And then the Naples pizza has been adopted worldwide. It's the fluffy, puffy, thick, crusted pizza. But the Roman pizza is very different. It's thin, it's crispy, it's burnt around the edges, but that's good. And one place she recommends if you want to have a quick bit of pizza at the very good cost is Da Remo in the Testaccio. Again, I'll put this in the details so you can look it up and book online, and you can get a great slice, great deal, €10 for a slice, and that's going to set you up for your trip around Rome. So we're going to make sure that you're well watered, you're well fed as you go around the Vatican, as you go around the Forum, as you visit this great, wonderful city. Look out, Eileen also recommends, for the coperta, which is a tax for tap water and bread, which is between €2 and €4 per plate. And as she says, go for the local wines. In Tuscany, Chianti, in Venice, Valpolicella. And she also said that, remember, in Italy, it's more about people are invested in how they look. And when it comes to restaurants, it doesn't matter if the menu's not very clean and the table is plastic chairs. It's about the company and the food. And that's what's really important. So follow her advice. Go to these restaurants, order these dishes, and you will have the time of your life. And as they all say, I'll end with the cheer, bon appetito. And thank you, Eileen.